What's up, guys? It's Ruse here with Boundless Embodiments. Welcome to episode 9 of the Boundless Embodiment podcast. And today I got a new friend of mine who I met in Portugal just about 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, Diogo. Diogo is a consciousness coach, and he's got a fantastic energy. I got to hang out with him for a night, and we had a really great connection. We talked about a lot of interesting topics together. So I decided I wanted to have him on my podcast so he can share some wisdom and light with you guys. Diogo, how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing great. I'm doing awesome.
Nice, man. So why don't we start off with like a little introduction into your background? Like, how did you end up becoming a consciousness coach? Like, what was like your path here?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a fast ride. So like I was like maybe around 4.5 years ago, I was like this guy, this shy guy, this introvert that was afraid of everyone, everything. I wouldn't leave my room. I would spend like 10 hours a day playing PlayStation because that was like my favorite escape, to escape everything and just kind of get immersed in the virtual reality, virtual world. And yeah, I just kind of hit the rock bottom at some point. And some something within me changed. At the time, I just felt angry about what I was doing with my life, and I was wasting my life away. And that anger kind of propelled me to start wanting to challenge myself and to start approaching people on the street. And that's kind of how it started. I started approaching old ladies and asking for directions or something. And I
Yeah.
was like petrified. I was like, I hope I don't have a phone or the watch on my wrist so they don't see me, they don't think I'm weird or something like this.
Mhm.
And yeah, I just took the philosophy of a little bit every day, 1%, a little bit, 1% every day. And I just went at it every day and trying to step a little more tension every day, a little bit more than was able before. And over time, I was getting able to feel more grounded and feel more confident. So I start like challenging myself more and more. And so eventually start approaching women. And after like maybe 5 months, I lost my virginity to a Portuguese woman, Portuguese girl. And yeah, like I remember that in my mind, like losing virginity was at the time was like this huge thing. And then when I did it, and I was just like with a condom and stuff, and I was like, it's better to jack off.
It's funny you say that. Like the first time I had sex too, it was actually terrible. Like it was like it was like not what I expected at all. And it actually I was so nervous and anxious the entire time. So like I just kept getting soft, and like it was just like an unpleasant experience. It wasn't until I got a little more grounded within myself so I started like, oh, this is actually pretty good, you know. But that first time was a wreck for me.
Yes, and so yeah, from that point, I kind of wanted more. I wanted to go deeper into it. So I just wanted to, in my mind, I wanted to be the best at it and be able to help other guys. Because at that point, I already realized like how much, like I found out how much it was actually easy to change. I mean, it wasn't easy. It was just that for a lot of people, it seems that they only, when they're really painful, that's when they change. Usually they don't change when it's comfortably now, or it's not too discomfortable. And it's possible to change even then. So like me realizing how easy it is to change and like seeing the results that I could have just by starting by talking with the old lady, just by starting. I wasn't even having big expectations to myself. It was just like, okay, I suck. I admitted where I was at. I think that's maybe a struggle for a lot of guys, is like admitting that you suck or admitting that you don't know anything. And kind of that humbleness that I started with helped me to progress much faster, because I was like, okay, I don't know anything. So I'm starting from scratch and I'm just building up. And yeah, it can change really fast. Things can change really fast. You build that momentum. and then you start having a positive framework and seeing only the upside and the positive. Like even if you have a bad day, you see like how much you learn from that day and how much you improve from that day, and then you start only seeing things, giving a positive meaning to things, and you start building like a more empowered identity. And then when you start building that, like going with that roller and going into the unknown, it becomes easy, because you see that it works. You see that it's actually like, you have to have faith. You have to go into it and then figure it out. You can't just kind of try to get it perfect, and so that really gave me confidence to start questioning a lot of things. And like over the last afterwards, after some years, like I started having some results, a lot of results, and having a lot of experience, and a lot of, I felt something was off. Like I felt like that wasn't it. Like somehow my mind was telling me, like, once you get these results and the people validate you or say that you are good enough and you are a good coach now or whatever, that everything would be fine. But I was feeling more heavier than ever when I was getting the results. So that was kind of a shifting point for me, like trying to find somewhere answers for, because I remember like even the first times when I start like feeling more free, there was something about it that I was like I was feeling in this flow state and I was feeling so light. And there was something about that I was like, this is what I'm looking for, right? This is what I was looking for, this freedom.
Mm-hmm.
But then at some point, it became the thing that got me free, became an attachment, right? And then it became an attachment, and I'm feeling heavier about it, or I felt restless about not doing it. It became a big part of my identity.
Mm-hmm.
And so the thing that set me free at some point became a detriment. And so, yeah, like, and after that point, like I still went with it, I still went after it, but I guess that the COVID situation really allowed me to to stop going with the cycles of my mind and just repeating the same patterns over and over again, and slow down. And I got some help, some mentors, and the things that I realized, and that the changes, the shifts in my consciousness that I experience is not even human. So it's,
It's
yeah.
interesting. There's three things that really stood out to me in what you said. The first one was that you started from a place of humility, like you accepted where you were at, like your starting point. Like, and I agree. Like a lot of people are like unwilling to embrace that. Like, I feel insecure and needy, and I don't know shit about shit. Like the way I've been going about life and women or whatever, like my confidence doesn't work and hasn't worked. So I actually just don't know what's going on, and I'm open to learn. And that's like an important big step. I think most people overlook, and they just try to get to where they want to go without embracing and accepting where they are right now. The second thing that stood out to me is that you actually experienced massive transformation in a lot of areas of your life, and it sounds like the dating and with women and sex was like a big part you were going towards. And even though you got a bunch of results, it actually didn't make a dent in your general well-being and happiness. It didn't, like, it wasn't the thing you were looking for when you got it. And the third thing I heard from you is that what actually helped you get space to get more clear as to like what it is you want, and like, where the thing you're looking for is, was actually taking a break from it, and being forced to go inward with some mentors, and actually like explore yourself more deeply to see like what it is you're actually looking for. And that's when more clarity and more depth and understanding of yourself came, and along with that, higher consciousness, better feelings, and so forth, which is awesome. I think that's actually generally speaking the hero's journey. I think overall, like, the way you described it is like you start from this place of like, I'm broken, I need to be fixed, like something's not right, I'm angry, and you go on this journey trying to search for that thing you're looking for. You get all these results, and like eventually you come full circle and come back to where it is, which is, it's inside you, right? What was like your the main thing that came about to you where you finally had that shift? Was there like any one experience that really like tipped it over for you, or anything like that that happened where like it started to like make sense as to like where this thing you were looking for actually is?
Yes, I remember that by the beginning of COVID, maybe around that time, I was working on my business, and I was feeling all these things coming up within me, like some some sensations, unpleasantness, and I didn't know what to do with that. Like I was a bit confused. These things were coming up and distracting me a lot. And I remember quite clearly that by the time I was looking my phone, and Niels Flair was saying that he had like a free call or something like this. And so yeah, I went on a free call with him, and then I started working one-on-one with him for a month. And that work of kind of allowing things to come up and feeling through it and allowing that to resolve, like I started doing that, and I saw it was working. I saw that it was working, and then I started really becoming like obsessed with that, like, oh, it's working. And like I was feeling less attached to things, and then I kept doing it. And yeah, just every day I was like, something was different. There was a different light coming off of my perception, a different like things were more I would say like more resolution in the things that I was seeing. And yeah, I started going to doing that work. I stopped going out and approaching. I really started doing that, just that work. and and it took me quite far. So that was kind of the start of the journey of this
So
evolution.
and for you guys that aren't aware of like what Diogo's talking about, he's actually talking about letting go. He's talking about allowing and letting go of fighting the negative emotions, letting go of resisting them, and simply like being present, allowing them to flow through you, which changes your relationship to those experiences. It changes your perspective on them. And this is just another fancy way of saying like it's raising your consciousness. It allows you to raise your consciousness and see the world from a, a more clear and truthful place than you were looking at it, which naturally opens you up to more acceptance, love, confidence, as your way of being. Now, in your programs and your coaching, is that what you're mostly focused on, or do you do like other stuff as well? Like, what is the main thing you focus on in your coaching?
Well, I think the main I would say the main cause of most of people's issues comes from believing in luck. Basically, if we have to narrow it down to the main issues, is attachment or energetic attachment to beliefs of luck. Can be lack of worthiness, lack of love, lack of abundance. And then that luck propels people into a state of hoping. So they hope that the next thing that their mind is uh, put some perceived value on, whatever it is for that particular person, whatever that thing is, that there's the perception that right now I'm lacking, and once I get that, I won't be lacking.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, what you're doing is every time you're playing this mind gaming within yourself, you're reinforcing the lack. So when you get there, you're always in the moment now, and the now is always lacking.
Yep.
So you're always going to be chasing your own tail, lacking things in a perceived future that never existed and never will exist. It's only now that
Mm-hmm.
exists. And so that's the root causes of main issues. Now, can be different. Can sometimes you can go, depends on the person, their openness, the self-acceptance mainly, and the self-knowing. Because if this person is in the deep-rooted denial and is not acceptance, is not open, that this work, like this direct work, will not work with them, because they're blocking the way. They're blocking the way with their own. The mind created a self-image, or let's say like a certain storylines that are not aligned with what is.
Mm-hmm.
So for these people that are more in denial, maybe like a more physical, like a more kind of friction approach. We can say like producing catalyst experience, maybe interacting with strangers. I think that that has been worked for me very powerfully, but can be anything, something that puts you outside of your comfort zone and kind of makes that come up. It kind of forces it to come up and for you to recognize, and if you want to be honest with yourself. So it does require some level of willingness to, first of all, to be open with yourself, to be honest with yourself. If someone is not willing to do so, then no one can help them until they're open a little bit to that possibility of that they're in denial or they're lying to themselves. The problem is when someone is in denial, the more they invest into it, the harder it is to to break the spell, because they're invested all their energy into that denial. So it's hard to break that wall.
And I can speak from my own experience that like that was the case for me as well. When I know the part that I struggled with most was that I was lying to myself and in denial for many years until I finally like acknowledged that, oh shit, I'm in denial. Like I'm actually like I'm unwilling to let go of this identity right now because I've invested my whole life into this. And like if I agree that I was wrong, then I wasted my whole life. Like that was like the resistance that was coming up. And for a lot of you guys that are watching this, that might be something for you as well. If you felt like you've been stuck for many years and like you've tried all this stuff, sometimes the first step is just the acknowledgement of like, maybe I'm in denial. Maybe I'm denying this possibility that this lack is not even real, that this not good enough belief or identity is completely made up, that it's as one of my good friends would say, it's fugazi, it's nothing, you know?
Yeah, I think the biggest issue is that people are not even aware of the lack, and then there was all these walls and compensating mechanisms in their mind to compensate for it. So if someone, like, you can know that by when you say, point out to someone something, and if they start their response with yes, but this, they already are putting a barrier. Like, you can't penetrate that. If the person is not like willing to take that in, at least maybe be a little bit open to acknowledge or to inquire. I think for me, what helped me the most to grow is to be 100% open to the idea that right now I'm bullshitting myself. Like, never assume that you're not. You assume that you are, and then if you're not, all good. But at least you assume that you are, because then you find out for yourself if it's true or not. It's the best way to not bullshit, to not get in denial, to not get stuck. I found.
So let's actually, I'd like to stick on that topic for a second. So you've had obviously several clients at this point. You've had some people that have gotten some great results with you. What do you find are like maybe like the top 3 key differences of the guys that end up getting the big results? Like, what are the differences between them versus the ones that stay stuck or they don't really make much progress? Like, what do you think they have or they show? So I know the first one is that there's a willingness and a openness to the possibility that they're in their own bullshit at any given point. So like that seems like that was like one of the bigger ones. What else? What are a couple other like key differences you see in the guys that really succeed?
I think one of the main ones is to listen. To actually listen, take it in, forget your ideas for a moment, drop your ideas, and be open to completely take the other person ideas. But at the same time, you don't want to believe. At least that's my philosophy. Even people that I coach, I tell them, don't believe what I'm saying. Go do it for yourself. Go test it for yourself. And then if it's true for you, then you find it out. But you don't make conclusions, either it's false or not false. You know,
so they don't believe or disbelieve blindly. They're open to experiencing without believing or disbelieving blindly.
Yeah, I think, at least being open to taking in and forgetting your own righteousness or whatever you want to be right with, like letting go of that and taking in the information from someone that has more experience with you than you. I think that's Because if the most of the coaching is about the other person, the client defending himself, because sometimes you gotta kind of put them in a comfortable position where you kind of expose their bullshit, and a lot of people go into defense mode about it.
Yep.
They're not happy to see the bullshit, but it's like you have to, if you want to grow quickly, you have to develop a attitude, an opposite attitude about your bullshit. You like saw your bullshit, you're happy about it, you know.
Yeah, because now you caught your bullshit. Now you can actually take action to, like, work through it.
You can free yourself. Yeah, you can free yourself from it. Yeah, for sure.
That's right.
For sure.
Anything else? Well, any other, like?
Well, taking responsibility, because I feel like a lot of people, they wait for a coach to save them, and that's one of the things I say with people that work with me right away. Is like, don't wait for me to save you. You're gonna still be the one putting in the work, not me. I'm gonna guide you, but you are 100% responsible for yourself, not me. I think that's
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you, man. Like that's I think that's one of the biggest ones for me as well. Is I think a lot of people get really caught up in, like, the life is happening to me, like the victim mentality stuff. And I know we both see it in our, being in the circles that we're in, especially on Facebook. We see a lot of people, like, pouring out the victim mentality, or like, you have options, I don't. My life is this way. I have no choice. I can't. And it's actually really important to come to terms that everything that you've created in your life is your own doing. And the reason why it's so important is because if you're not responsible for 100% of your life, that means you have no ability to change it either. If something else is dictating what happens in your life, that means that has the power over you. And it's an incredibly disempowering way of living. When the reality is, like, if you're working a job that's 12 hours a day and you hate it and you're telling yourself you have to, you don't have to. You could actually let yourself starve and die. There's many other options you can do. You can quit and try something else. But just being willing to, like, admit that, like, I'm choosing this, I'm scared to let it go, is a huge step in accepting where you're at and actually give yourself an opportunity to change it.
Yes, I think a big one is that people get really stuck in is that when it can be very subtle, like people saying something like, oh, but yeah, my mind like holds me back. Some, like an example, like, okay, this is still a very subtle victimization.
Yep.
Because you're still saying that your mind is somehow has extra power over your decision making, which is not true. And a good example I usually give to people is if like right now, what you're not doing in your life, if your mom's life was at threatened, and if her life was at stake, and the only way you could save her was doing the thing that you're not doing, all the things you're right now, all the sharing in your mind that is telling you that I can't do this, my mind is stopping me, all this stuff would go out of the window, and you will do it right away.
Yep.
With nothing will hold you back, no emotion, no thought, nothing. You would just do it. And that's why we bullshit ourselves, is that if it's important enough, we just do it. There's no things blocking anything. There's no blocks. There's no blockages. People are talking about blockages. Oh, I have this blockage. No, you don't. You just don't want it. That's it.
Yep.
You might have the blockage, but you could surpass that if you really, really, really want to do whatever you're not doing.
It's funny you say that. It's like, people think they get these, like, payoffs from these blockages, like, oh, like the blockage like prevents me from having to take responsibility, the blockage like prevents me from getting hurt. But it's actually these little mini payoffs that you come up with in your head that actually keep you holding on to the blockage. Most blockages, they're just energy that want to move in your body. They're not wanting to stay there. It's us that actually is choosing to hold on to them, and then telling ourselves and other people, like, oh, it's getting in the way. That's kind of how the victimization pattern happens.
Yeah, and I'm saying this because I was definitely very, very blocked, and I had plenty of stuff. But when I had the will, and my suffering was enough, I fucking went through whatever it takes, and I didn't heal anything. It was all there, and I only healed all those things like later on, like some years later on down the line. But I did take all that action without healing anything. So I'm not saying that, of course, someone cannot heal and it's important to heal. What I'm saying is that's not a requirement for you to take action or to do the things that you want. You actually can do them regardless, because if it was really important, if it was your like someone said, like, let's say you have a child and you ask them, like, would your child not have food? Like, let's say you get broke, would you let your child die? And the person suddenly has all this fucking power. Like, I would find a way. My child will not die. I would find a way. I'll create a way. I'll make a way, because it's important. Their child is very important. So
I
they will
find
find
this.
solutions,
Yeah, no, you're right.
right?
It's shifting your energy from like the focusing on problems to focusing on solutions, right? It's
Yes.
I think that's actually another big one that a lot of the guys that I've worked with that succeeded is that as they start to like, put to practice what we're teaching them and like let go, they start to focus more on solutions rather than focusing on the problems. And those ones tend to like go very far because they start realizing the problems are just made up bullshit. They're not actual problems like I'm making them. And there are solutions inside me because I found solutions to other things in the past. So it's like it is a huge shift to make that can create a lot of success in your life. um, I'm curious for you. um, I think before when I first became aware of you, you were like doing the dating coaching, right? And then you
Mm-hmm.
shifted into more of the consciousness coaching. um, wh- I know you said the main problem most guys come into is like this feeling of lack. Where are the guys that you work with mostly experiencing that? Do you find like there's a specific area that more guys commonly experience that than others, or is it all over the place for you?
Yes, I mean, if it's the people that I've recently worked around the dating stuff, it's usually around the same kind of people pleasing, like people pleasing issues, or lack of ability to be comfortable with their sexuality. All that stuff usually is the main issues.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not they didn't learn how to be leaders or to take leadership. So that's usually the main issue. But like I said, it's like this all comes from all these lack beliefs. And when you intertwine both of this, when you take if you wanted to improve your dating life, if you take action, and then whenever you get triggered and then you feel unworthy or whatever in the midst of it, because you will feel plenty, then you can heal it. And then when you heal that energetic charge, you will find that you will take less and less effort to do it and to improve, because you will naturally, once that energy is resolved, you're not your system is not charged with this, so you're not going to manifest in your behavior. It's like your behavior, your things you say, the way you speak, everything you move, it's energy. It comes from your energetic charge, that it's free, that's behind, that's invisible. And when you resolve it, a lot of the techniques that people teach around there, they simply dissolve, because the technique was to kind of compensate for their lack. Once the lack is not there, there's no technique needed, basically.
Yep. I i I agree with you. I even say like nothing you say or do matters compared to like where energy it's coming from. The energy that you're communicating from is communicating everything for you, because all your micro expressions, your facial expressions, your voice tone, how you actually feel to someone is going to be reflected by how you're feeling inside in their presence. And you can say and do all the right techniques, but if you're coming from a place of lack, um, you will at best attract girls that are in a very lacking place themselves, and at worst you will repel everyone from you, because people will just see you as incongruent and fake you know
Yes. Yes, I found that, like, when you heal yourself, even like going up to someone and not speaking at all, just looking them in the eyes, can work, and you being in interaction, and like, people are like, how do I not run out of things to say? Actually, like, you don't need it. You can be silent and can be much more powerful than when you speak. It creates so much more tension. So you can solve a lot of you can literally just solve the shatterbox in your head. Once you solve the shatterbox in your head, and you're more present, you have presence, then all those things kind of flow through you, all the in your interactions.
Mhm. Beautiful. Yeah. That's also been my experience as well. Like I found in a lot of the guys that I know that are most successful with girls, they actually speak a lot less than the average guy. They like say less. They're just more embodied. They're just like they literally let their body and the energy of their body, their presence, do all the communicating for them. And the women, you know, they experience life at a more subtle place, as you know. So they actually are receiving everything that person's giving them, and they know exactly what they want. They know exactly what they're communicating to them, and it just it shows women that you're able to see things at a higher level, and they just feel that off of you, you know. So
Definitely, definitely.
so what is your like what does your like program entail? Like if someone wanted to work with you, um you know, like how long is the engagement? Like what does it look like in case
Yes.
someone that's watching this wanted to like reach out to you and learn more about that?
Yeah.
What does that actually look like?
So I mean, I'm not completely, let's say, close to help guys with dating stuff. I think that that definitely can be a very kind of initial ground on a relative ground to heal yourself. Definitely very powerful area. And if people want to, I mean, in both ways will come a lot of will be a lot of the work will be about healing. And now we can speak about relative healing or absolute healing, and that will depend on that person's interest. Um, well, you can heal yourself to an extent where you quite happy, or let's say, uh, what's the word? You are satisfied, right? And if we go towards more deeper, more existential path, then talk about enlightenment or self-realization. And it's possible for everyone. I think a lot of people have limiting beliefs about self-realization or enlightenment or whatever. People have this kind of enlightened beings, Buddha images, or Jesus Christ or whatever, and think that only those special beings are able to reach those states of consciousness, which is not true. All of us are consciousness, so all of us can have access to those states. And so that's something that I want to definitely focus more on, which is self-realization and helping, especially coaches, people that want to like really embody those higher states and really, in a sense, vibrate at those frequencies onto this planet, onto the energy field of the planet Earth, and really change the 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 dynamic of the planet and the consciousness, the state of consciousness of the whole planet, by just really going into deeper states, deeper realizations. And yeah, that I think that is definitely will be way more my focus moving forward. And I'm already working with some coaches, and I do know that it's not for everyone, because it requires like very, I guess, very deep radical honesty of self, and sacrificing your self-image a lot to go into much deeper states, and in a sense letting go of all your attachments, even attachment to being a person, and attachment to all kinds of things. And I mean, from my experience, that's really what we as consciousness are looking for. We are looking for being God, being in a state of God, but we're looking for in objects of our own mind. And the mind is designed that way. It's designed to externalize. But if someone can recognize that what we're actually looking for is inside, and we follow that resonance or our emotional guiding system, then we can achieve that total healing. We can really heal ourselves and heal our, like, understand our emotions on a deeper level. Because I feel like we still confuse a lot what emotions are and what they are here for. And for me, what I came to realize is that emotions are guiding us. Emotions are guiding us to become more of the creator and less of a portion of creation. So we are born as an empty vessel, as an empty portion of consciousness. Then we absorb the energy field, the things around us, their parents, everything around us, and we become that. And we become veiled by that. And once, if you get in an accelerated spiritual journey, then you can unveil yourself and you can realize that you are God. You are actually God, not just as an idea, but you can actually direct in your direct experience. Because I think a lot of people get lost in spirituality on a lateral level or feeling good about yourself. But if you're on an absolute direct path, you can actually really realize directly that you are God, and you can bring that gift to this planet. This planet is desperate to be healed. The turmoil is real.
Yeah, no, I feel you, man. That's wonderful. So are you feeling like your heart's moving towards more coaching other coaches, coaching other people who are like already leading and impacting the world in some way? Or do you still work with like, some random person that's like not in the coaching space but is interested in that as well? Like
I still work with those people. It will depend on what I see in them. If I really see that they're serious about what they want to do, I don't really want to waste time. I don't care about the money, so I don't want to waste time with people that are not serious about their transformation, the work. They just wanted to be carried away or babysitted. I'm not up for those people. But if you are someone that is serious about it, then for sure I'm open to see what you want, what's your desire. And you never know. Like, I've worked with guys that they were no one in a sense, or we can say it was just a guy, and then after our coaching, you wanted to coach other people, so that can become a coach too. You never know. I'm open to that, but definitely more open to work with coaches because I know that will bring more impact for sure. They'll spread it faster.
Hell yeah, man. That's beautiful. Love it. I'm on the
Yes.
same page, man. I have I recently started something with my business coach to help other coaches in the same space with some of the stuff you're talking about. So I love to hear that there's others doing the same thing and doing great work like you are, Diogo. If someone wanted to get in contact with you, what would be the best way to do that? Is like, do you have like a site? Do you have a link to get in contact?
Yes, I mean, the easiest way is to look for my name on Messenger and add me, or if you're already my friends list, you can just text me on Messenger and see what you're up to.
Awesome. I'll tag Diogo in this podcast and put his full name. So if you want to check him out, reach out to him. If what he said resonated with you, check him out. He's an awesome guy. I felt he had a strong vibe and a really good intention to help people. And I really believe in what he's doing. And for those of you guys that have been following me, just in case that you didn't know, I just recently released a 5 steps to embodying boundless confidence and self-love training guide. It's completely free. If you're interested in that, I'll put a link down below for that as well. You can check that out. And yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Diogo, for joining me for the call.
It's a pleasure.
Really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun connecting with you. I'm glad you shared some
Same.
wisdom here. And I'll catch you guys later. Peace.
Take care.